This week, we're going to talk about... I forgot what I was going to say. Sometimes I wish someone could explain to me why our brain forgets. Welcome to Playing the Ace.
Hello, Sister Anne.
Well, hi there, Dr. C. I remember the last time we talked on Playing the Ace, we were discussing how our brains change when we learn new things. There were some fascinating details that helped explain why we get tired when we're learning or studying.
Right, like the fact that the brain is responsible for 20% of the body's energy consumption, even though it is only 2.5% of our total body weight. No wonder it wears us out to use our brains.
I also remember talking about our neurons, or brain cells. You said that when we learn, our neurons grow more and thicker dendrites, which are like antennae that pick up signals and connections from other neurons.
Yes, and the more connections we create between neurons and the more dendrites our neurons grow, the easier it will be for us to identify patterns and to recognize and retain new information in the future. That's what we called the brain's plasticity.
Most importantly, we said that we learn by doing, and that the most important thing we could do to retain information was to practice it repeatedly outside of class.
That's right. It doesn't do us much good to listen to our professors all day if we don't take what we learn home and practice. That's how we build a big, strong network of neurons with big branching dendrites associated with the topic that we're studying. Let's explore some other practical ways that we can use this knowledge to improve how we study and learn.
Okay, well, I had a question I've been thinking about a lot. Do you ever feel like after you learn something in class, you have forgotten most of it by the next day?
Yes, I do, and that is completely normal. It's the reason why we need to study what we've learned again and again. Take a look at this graph. In the 1880s, a German psychologist named Hermann Ebbinghaus ran an experiment on himself. He studied certain nonsensical words like "wid" and "zoff" and "mav", and then tested how well he could remember them over longer and longer periods of time. Once he'd gathered all the data, he plotted it on a graph that looks something like this.
Wow, that graph shows that he forgot most of the words by the end of the first day.
Yes, in fact, Ebbinghaus found that after only an hour, he could remember as little as 44% of the words. And after a week, he could only remember about 10% of the words.
So, if we forget so much of what we learn, then what's the point of studying?
Well, yes, based on this graph, it seems like it's a waste of time to learn anything if we're going to forget it all in a matter of days. But this isn't the whole story. Later psychologists repeated this experiment under more scientifically rigorous conditions, and they found similar results. But then they also studied the benefits of reviewing the learned material at intervals after initially learning the material. And what they discovered was that it is possible to flatten the forgetting curve.
Flatten the curve. I've heard that before.
Right. In this context, it means that by repeatedly reviewing the things we have learned, we are able to retain more and more of it for longer periods of time. With spaced repetition, we can make the forgetting curve look more like this.
I see. Every time we review our new knowledge, the forgetting curve becomes less and less steep until we're able to recall most of it for longer periods of time.
Yes, of course, it may take more repetitions than we're showing on this graph. You can flatten your forgetting curve by spending a little time every day to review and remember what you've learned. Many experts claim that reviewing material within the first 24 hours after learning it is the optimal time to reduce the amount of forgotten knowledge, but it must be repeated again and again to store the information in your long-term memory.
I've also read research showing that you can remember more effectively if you support your memory in a variety of ways. You can write the information down, you can read it to yourself, you can read it aloud, you can discuss it with another person.
Absolutely. You can also draw a picture or a diagram, make a flowchart, build a model, or even invent a new dance.
Invent a dance, that sounds good to me.
Yes, in fact, research has shown that many different brain areas are activated when we learn new knowledge. One of the regions associated with learning is the cerebellum, which controls balance and coordination, while other regions are associated with visual processing, sensory awareness, and language comprehension.
So by coordinating our body movement with what we're learning, like through dancing, or by using pictures to engage the visual pathways in our brain, we can reinforce our memory and comprehension more effectively.
And the more mental pathways we can engage when learning new material, the better it will stick.
If you have an idea for the show, email us at writing@olusa.edu or DM us on one of our social media platforms. Thanks for watching Playing the Ace. Remember, don't gamble with your academic success.
Playing the Ace is a new web series from ALU's Academic Center for Excellence. Every week, we will be talking about elements and strategies that can help you develop as a learner. Join us and enhance your learning experience.